Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Let's see, I came back in here for a reason, and I totally forgot. I was just making, I don't think it matters, to be honest. I'm just making an inventory now. So in the last video, we made potions and we made some stuff, and we're almost ready to finish up on that. So what we're doing now is I am just making an inventory. Basically, you could call it what it is. It'll just be like a loot panel. I don't know. A loot panel, something. There we go. This is staff number. So when you defeat an enemy, it will have loot on it, and so this window will come up, and then this will be the number of coins. This will be the number of potions, and so on and so forth. And that's all. That's basically all this is. Because there's going to be more potions. Let's see how the number. So, I'm not too sure if I want to make two systems for this or not. What I mean is by two systems. By two systems, I simply mean I don't know if I want player-generated loot and if I want game-generated loot. Oh, that's bugging me. Oh, man. There we go. I did it. I did it. Okay, yeah, so I'm not sure if I want to, let's see, I'm going to duplicate this, and we'll move this here. So we're going to have, this is going to be, let's see. This is going to be, we're going to have different types of potions. So this potion here is going to be health potion. And this will be health potion number. And then this one here is going to be stamina. Stamina potion. And this will be stamina potion number. And then we're going to have mana potion. And mana potion number. So, we can keep this kind of generic. And we can say that let's see. We could do one of two things. We can have this loot be generic loot. Let's see. but we're going to want to upgrade it. So what we're essentially doing here, think of this as like, this is like a tier 1 inventory. Okay, this is a tier 1 inventory. So when we get to our tier 2 inventory, so that's what we're going to call this, tier 1. T1. All right, and then what we would end up doing, oh, this whole thing is T1. T1 loot, and then we would be duplicating it like that. And this would be like T2 loot. And so on and so forth. And that way it's easier to change the whatever it is, the loot that we're giving the player, because okay, we give potions, right? So we could, if we could either randomly generate every potion that we give to the player, and that's going to be hard because then we have to track a lot more statistics. It would be difficult. Or what we could do is we could just set 3 or 4 tiers of potions, right? This one gives you 25, this one gives you 50, this one gives you 75, this one gives you 100 as a base set for the game. And then we allow players to make custom potions on top of that. So, yeah. And then that way, when the player is fighting monsters and they're getting loot, it'll be easier for us to handle. This is a tier 1 helmet. It has these basic abilities. This is a tier 2 helmet. It has these basic abilities. And then that way, when the player goes to sell the loot, it's going to be easier for us to track that in the player inventory. Yeah, because that's kind of, this part here is kind of an unknown at this point in time. So that's why I'm just conceptualizing it, and then we just want to see where we go from here. Yeah, so if we have our NPC that we do damage to, once this, so let's see, how do we check to see if it's dead? So we need to make sure that its health is 0, right? So, and that will show, I think, over top. Okay, let's just figure this out. Oh, whoops. Let's see, let's take this and let's put this back into replicate storage. Alright, so we're gonna slay okay, so we have the body there. This is the rig here. And it's health is 0. Okay, perfect. So what we can do is on the master interface, we need to have 2 sets of loot windows. One is where we collect the loot, and one is where we view the loot that we have on the player. So this could be tier 1 loot, collect, and then we'll duplicate it, and this one here will be visible false, and this will be tier 1 loot player. Now remember, all these values also need to be saved, so we have to connect this to a data save, and it's going to need to save. It's gonna need to save. So instead of doing the tier 1 collect on the player side, we are gonna make this pop up on the rig, and then that way it'll be the server that is giving the player the items, and then we can do the data saving there, and it's going to be a lot easier. So what we're going to do is inside the let's see, we had that graphic. Is it still on the shield? I think it's actually in the replicated storage now. This here, so if we copy this, and inside the head, we paste it in there, okay? And then what we'll do is, the label is going to be, so we get the name of the player here from the sword. Okay, so then what we need to do is let's insert an object, a bool value. Let's make this just call it dead, and then we need a script. So we'll go insert object, a script. Okay, and now in this script here where it plays the animation, it's doing it in a loop. So the first thing we want to say is we want to say if humanoid dot health is greater than 0, is greater than 1, then we will say else model stop let's see, script dot parent dot script dot parent dot head. Interesting. Script dot parent to parent dot head. Oh, that's different. What's the script here? Oh, that's script dot parent dot head dot gfx dot text label dot visible. And actually, instead of a text label, we're going to delete that. We're going to insert an object. We're going to insert a text button. There we go. Dot text button. Dot visible equals true. And inside here, we have this script here. I'm wondering if we can put this inside there. So let's just try that for now. Let's just see if it's going to make this text button pop up. Oh, I gotta set the visible to false. Let's probably do that. Oh, if help, yeah, it's greater than 1. Else, oh, I should probably say if humanoid dot health, then Alright, so maybe we won't tie it to this. Maybe what we'll need is another script. That's fine. So, show and explore, that's that one there. This is the damage that's done by the sword. Okay, so what we need to do is when the damage... Right, so when I hit... We have the hit script here, right? Okay. We've got... On the NPC, we need to insert an object, a string value, and it needs to be the player name. And when we strike the rig, we need to say if hit the parent find first child elemental damage. And then we're going to say else no. There we go. Else print not found. All right. Perfect. Perfect. So now we can only do damage to things that have this folder in it. I like it. So now what we want to do is if it has that folder in it, then we're going to say dot elemental damage, let's see, dot player name dot player equals should be hit dot parent. Let's see if we can do that. Oh, that's my weapon, not... Oh, let's see what's going on here. So what we need to say is let's see, then this player name is not okay, let's see, hit dot parent dot elemental damage dot player name dot value equals hit dot parent. Alright, so we'll have to scratch that, I guess. Alright, let's see if this is working properly. Yeah, it is working properly. So alright, what am I even trying to do? I don't know. All I'm trying to do is make this graphic open when the, so probably what I should do is, I don't know, I need another script to handle all this. I figured as much. So this turns this hit dot value to true. So I hesitate a little bit. Let's add another, let's try something else. Let's insert a bool, which is just a true and false, and let's call this one dead. Okay, and I want to see if we can get this to turn on when the thing's dead. So oh, I guess I would need another value. Oops, why did I delete that? I want to duplicate it. And we could call this on, and that would have to be true. And then we could go right click, insert object, a script, and we could say while true do wait if script parent dot on dot value is equal to true, then if script dot parent dot humanoid dot health is equal to 0, then let's see, script dot parent dot head dot gfx dot text button dot visible equals true. That's all we want to do. We just want to make this text thing open up. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So now that it's... I wonder if I can click on the button. That's the next part of it. So either... Okay, so we can do one or two things. So either that happens, or instead of that, we can make that a prompt. That might be better, actually. That might be better. Instead of a text button, let's insert object. Here, let's just get rid of that. Let's just insert object prompt. Yeah, there we go. And then this is the loot script. Yeah, this is how this is going to work. This is even better. So we can say graphics dot prompt dot enabled equals true, or enabled was it? It's let's see. Yeah, and then once we activate it, okay, this will be easier this way. It'll be easier this way. So now what we need to do is we need to insert a script and code the button. All right, now we need to code the button. So we can say local button equals script dot parent dot proximity prompt. All right, button dot trigger ended connect function player. Now, here's where things get different. You can either set it so that way the player who defeats the zombie gets to loot it, which is a little more difficult, or you can just make it random. I like the idea of just making it random. So what is going to happen is we are going to open up the loot collect window on the master UI. So we need to say player, let's see, dot player GUI. We want to say find first child, master UI, master UI dot T1 loot collect dot visible equals true. All right, let's just see if we can connect all these dots here. There's a lot of them. Right now we're trying to build the inventory. Oh, I see that it's... Oh, cool. It did bring it up. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So now what's going to happen is this button here is going to be connected to the data save. All right. And this button here is going to be the button that loads all of the loot data for the player. It's going to load the tiers. So depending on which type of enemy we defeat will depend on which tier loot window shows up. So then when it comes to the actual player, the player all right, so this screen, oh, it's so the stats, this is going to be loot. Or inventory. Which is going to be developed. And then what we'll do is we will open up to the stats. It's going to be T1 loot player, which is just going to be the inventory. That's all. That's all it's going to be. And then we have T2 loot, T3 loot. All right. So let's see if that will work. Oh. There we go. So that's our inventory. So now we can decide if we want to have like T1, T2, T3, you know, the different tiers of inventory loot that the player is going to collect. We could have a button here which takes them to the different tiers. So when we interact with an NPC, in this case when we kill an NPC, it'll randomly generate the loot that's on it, and then we'll collect the loot. So, for our button, this is going to be enabled false. And so that's what we need to work on next, is generating the loot. Now that we have it, so we need to build a staff, and then we need to generate the loot. So that's going to be the next two videos coming up here. Generating the loot and the staff, and then doing the tiers. It should be pretty easy. And then all we're going to do is we're just going to randomly change the values on each one of these. You know, it'd be real simple loot system, real simple stuff. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. There's been a lot, so I hope you've been enjoying it. It's been a lot to think about and a lot to consider. There's still some more graphic stuff to take place, but we are definitely getting there. Now, the last thing we want to do also is create a close button on this interface. So we want to take maybe this button here, and we will duplicate it, and I'll put it down here. I could, geez, I could probably just get rid of that. Let's insert object. Close, and then we go insert, just put a local script in there. And we can say button equals script.parent button dot mouse button one down connect function script.parent apparent.visible equals false. There we go. So now the only way it will open and populate hold on a second here, hold on a second here. The only way it should open and populate, there we go, is if we interact with this NPC. This combat system, it's so intense. Look at that. Look at how real the it's like I'm right in the game. Okay, then we then we loot. Right, and so what we'll do, these are buttons, so we'll click on the button and we'll get the value. This is how many coins, this is how many this is how many that. And that's all. And then maybe once in a while there would be like a random right? So then when it comes to, so that's how we separate loot that the player collects to sell for money and to purchase potions and upgrades for their stats. And then the player is going to use those stats and their magic abilities to upgrade the armor and the weapons, which will further boost the player's stats. That's kind of how we're going to tie the whole fantasy RPG stuff together. So this video was a lot. I did say we were going to be getting into a lot of stuff, and we have. We also have to deal with this label, which we will. So what do we do? Well, we created the inventory for the player, and we'll be able to choose the tier, probably from here, tier 1, 2, 2, 3, loot, and that way when we go to sell it, so it's gonna work one of two ways. It's gonna let the player know how much loot they have, and then when they interact with an NPC, there will be a tier 1 NPC, tier 2 NPC, and tier 3 NPC that we'll have to find. So it's going to be really interesting, and that's the only way that you'll be able to sell your loot, and that's where you're going to be able to buy these potions. I thought perhaps you could find potions on the enemies, but I don't want to make things too complicated, and I would rather perhaps, you know, you have to purchase the potions just to make it part of the game. So that's what you need money for, and you may have to do quests and whatever else. So yeah, so there you have it. In short, look at that. Our game is slowly developing, and we're, once again, moving in the right direction. So in this video, we created the player inventory. We added the ability to destroy the enemy and loot them and earn a reward. What we now need to do is connect that to the data store through the button and figure out. So what we need to do is we need to name each item. We need to give it as a unique item code, and then we need to save that code. Fortunately, how many items do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only 8, so we just have to create 8 unique numbers, and then we can just easily duplicate that per tier. So it shouldn't be too bad, and then that way when we activate the prompt, it'll be tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, which will be coded into here. It'll activate it, and what it will do is it will randomly populate. It will randomly give numbers to how many of each type we get. Where are we at anyways in this? 38 minutes? We could almost go into it. Okay, so if we wanted to almost go into it, we could pick one. Oh, it's loading really slowly. We could almost pick one. Let's see. Cash. Okay, so then on the loot, let's see. What we want to do is we want to say this is the screen, tool collect. Okay, so then what we want to do is we want to say that, and we want to find dot cache number equals, and then what we want to do is, let's see, we want to math.random, nope, we don't want to round. Now, if we say math.random10, it's going to choose a number, a random number between 1 and 10. So we could say local, we could turn this into a local, and we could say cache equals, and then text would be cache. I think that could work when we activate the prompt. Let's try it out. Might have to say cache.value. Let's try it out. Oh, this guy's tough. cash number. Oh, is not a valid member of. Oh, toolcollect.tone. Such a vivid combat system. Yeah, there we go. So now that's given us a random number. Oh, that's so cool. So then what we need to do is we also need to create a, inside here, we need to insert an object. We need a number value. And this is going to be cash. Okay, so it is, we'll also assign that number to cash number dot cash dot value. And then what we need to do is we need to save that value to the player stats. So we need to go back into player added. And here we need to say we need inventory stats. Now this could be either handled here or this could be handled on a separate script that loads. We could even do that. We could just insert another script. And we could call this inventory. Perfect. And then we can say game dot players dot player added, right? Connect function. All right. So when the player joins the game, we need a folder, we need some values, and we also need to connect it to our data store. So this is going to be, the folder is going to be called inventory loops. And this number is going to be cash loops. All right. And we are going to name it cash loot. Cash loot. And then what we need now is a simple pcall. So it's data cash loops becomes cash loops, and that becomes, instead of mana dot value, that becomes cash loot dot value. There we go. And then when the player loads into the game, it is going to load that value, cash loot. And then when we, so what I'm going to do in my own time after this is I'm going to expand on this. Yeah, I'm just going to code this on my own time later on to finish the inventory. This is just, you get the basic idea, because I got to do this 8 more times, right? So we have cache loots. Then when the master UI loads onto the player, so that will be right here where it's cloned. Information, where is the interface? The interface is cloned there. So then what I need to do is I need to say UI dot T1 player dot T1 dot cache number dot text equals and then I'll have to name this player dot loots dot cache loots equals player dot loots value. All right, let's see if that works. It should be 0 or none, %none %. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, so it should assign it to the variable, and then we need to code the button. Then we need to code the button. So we need to go insert object. We need a local script. That's all, and then we need to say local button equals rate script dot parent, and then we say button dot mouse button one down connect function. In this case, it's going to be the player. And what we're going to do is we are going to say player dot loots dot cache loots player dot loots no, let's see. That will have to be changed. That will have to be changed here. So then what we'll have to do is we'll have to say player, yeah. We'll have to take this code here. Dot value equals. There we go. Then we need the p call for that, right? We need this. Because it has to be done in a server script. If it's not done in a server script, it's not going to function. So this is data cache loots equals cache loot dot value, and then this needs to be what's the value that we want to save. Just like that. And then the value that we want to save is going to be that. And it should say cache inventory saved. Okay, perfect, perfect. So that's that, that's that. So then when we click on the button itself, what it should do is it should change the value. So it should say script dot parent dot cache number. Oh, this should be in here. Dot cache number dot text equals nil, and then it will say script dot parent dot cache number dot cache dot value equals 0. And then what we will do is we will say script dot parent dot this is where we want to go. T1 loot player. Now we're going to change it here. T1 cache number cache number text equals this here. There we go. There we go. That's why this one needs to be a button. This one doesn't need to be a button, because when we go to sell the items, the sell inventory is going to be on. We're going to transfer these numbers over to the sell inventory window. Yeah, so there's a few more dots that need to be connected, but we'll go over that in the next one. So let's just test this out real quickly. What we've done, I should be able to get now this is going to have to be loaded with the inventory. So UI equals let's see equals player. Oh, that has to be written in there. Player dot player GUI find first child master UI T1 loot player. Yeah, dot T1 dot cache number dot text. There we go. Oh boy, still giving me a problem. Master UI. Oh, it's probably loading. We're probably gonna have to wait on this one. I'll probably have to do a wait of like 5 seconds. So then if we open up our inventory, yeah, it shows 0. Cool. So now if I defeat this zombie before it defeats me, then when I open up my inventory, look at that. It shows 10, but I don't know if it's saved. I don't know where unable to cast value to object. I think that's where that error was in there. So probably because it should be plus this here. That might make it work. So instead of referencing the random value that we set, we may have to reference the actual value that is set, the string value, which is why I added it there. Well, it still says unable to cast value to object. Huh. So is it not able to... T1 loot player. I didn't get an error that time. So now we have to figure out why it's not letting me cast value to the object. So why is that? It's saying, oh, because I'm saying get async instead of set async. All right, now we should be able to run through and it'll save. So as you can see, it does take a little bit of time to code and to set up, and for everything else to go through. Just a moment here. It does take a minute. And it's a lot of testing, and then you got to code it. And so we're kind of back and forth a little bit. And the reason why we're kind of back and forth a little bit is you have to design it. Anyways, you get the idea by now. You sort of have to jump around when you're designing it a little bit. Design it, test it, see if it works. Blah, 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 blah. So, does it work? 5 coins. Okay, so that got us 5 coins. So then if we close that and we open up our inventory, we've got 5 coins in there. And let's see if it's saved. Yes, look, it's saved. Perfect. So now we have everything that we almost need. In the next video, we'll make a staff, and we'll finally, hopefully, get to finish coating the armor. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.